Hi guys, Jamie here from JB Motion. Today we're going to be looking at how we can go about modeling up this teacup. We're going to be using Adobe Illustrator to draw out the outline of our cup, and then we're going to import the path into Cinema 4D, and we're going to use the Lathe object to rotate that path around into a 3D object. We're also going to be using the extrude tool to extrude out a handle from the body of our cup. Now, I have some future plans for this cup. In the next video, we're going to be looking at how we can put some real tea into our teacup and stir it, just like what you're seeing right now. That liquid is going to look like real liquid. It's going to be really, really cool. So for now, we're just going to be focusing on modeling our teacup. So stay tuned. Here we go. Here's some cups. You can look at these cups. There's some beautiful cups here. Anything you want to use for your own reference. Maybe you like this cup and you want to use this cup as a reference. Then bring it into your Illustrator file and you can basically trace along the edge here. So I'm just going to create my own cup out of my head. So I'm going to jump into Illustrator and go to the pen tool, and I want to create something kind of random but at the same time thought about, and I want this bottom line to be straight. This bottom line needs to be straight, and just to make sure it is straight, I'm going to select those two anchor points there. I'm going to go to align to selection, and I'm going to go to vertical align selection. So they are straight. I knew they were straight. Just wanted to double check, and you should do the same too. So if your stroke doesn't have a width of 17 points, make sure that it does. 17 or 18 anyway. If your stroke has fill applied to it, you want to select that and select none, because you don't want any fill. And now what you want to do is, and remember, your stroke doesn't have to look like this. Your cup outline doesn't need to look like my one. Your one can look like any of these cups here. Maybe you like the look of this cup. So again, it doesn't matter about what cup outline you're going for, but what I want to do is I want to thin the cup here and have it kind of rounded here at the top. Another thing you need to do is your stroke may be set to butt cap, and you want to set it to round cap. And then select your stroke and use the width tool, Shift W on your keyboard, and what you can do is select a point, hold down your mouse, click and drag, and it's going to thin out your cup at this point, and it's going to give it a nice lip here, which cups kind of have, teacups have anyway. Once that's done, select your stroke, go to Object, Path, and Outline Stroke. Now we want to press Shift X on your keyboard so that this is going to switch. Shift X. Then that's going to become an outline, and we want to press C on your keyboard to bring it open your scissors tool and select this point here and this point here. That will cut away the outer part here. You can get rid of that. Oh no, delete on that. And again, I want this line here to be straight, so I'm going to use my direct selection tool, A on your keyboard, and I'm going to select these points here. I'm going to go align to selection, and I'm going to go vertical align center, and that's going to straighten those up. Don't worry about that little jut there. What you can do is just bring it down a bit to straighten it all out. Do the same here. I'm going to go align to selection and straighten those out, and then we can just bring it up a little bit, maybe bring it down a little bit. No, we can leave it like that. That is fine. Now, okay, now we have the outline of our cup, and our plan for this is to use the lathe tool so that we can basically rotate this around the center point of our scene, and it's gonna give us something that looks like this, except it's gonna be 3D and it's gonna be looking like a nice teacup. So we want to go File, Save As on that, and we want to go to save this as cup path. So I've already created one of these before, so I'm just going to call this cup path 2. Click on save, and this is very important that you set the version to Illustrator 8. Otherwise you won't be able to, just click OK there, you won't be able to import this into Cinema 4D. Cool, so that's done. Let's jump into Cinema 4D. We're going to go File, Merge Objects, and we are going to go to Paths, and we're going to select this path right here, Cup Path 2, and click OK. And now that's in our scene. Can increase the size of it there, so it's about the same size as a cube. There we go. That's fine. Now we want to go to our cup path 2, go to our coordinates, and let's just zero that out. Now we want our axis here to be on the far right of our spline. So to do that, hit Shift-C on your keyboard, type in axis, and select the axis center, and we want to bring it along the x-axis 100%. Execute that, and let's bring it down to the bottom, the very bottom of our spline, by bringing to minus 100% on the y, and execute that. So now it's at the our axis is at the very bottom of our spline, so that's going to be easy for us to center, because this needs to be in the center of our world for this lathe to work. So select a lathe and make your cup path a child of it, and there you go. That rotates around and it gives us our nice cup geometry. So hit NB on your keyboard so we can see the lines. Don't worry about the jagged edges there, because we're going to be dropping this into a subdivision surface object in a minute. We're actually going to do it right now. Hold down Alt with your lathe selected and then let go, and that'll automatically pop your lathe as a child of the subdivision surface. That's nice and smooth. Let's do a render there. Cool, okay. That's a lovely looking cup. So next, actually we shouldn't have put that into the subdivision. Take it out of there, and I'm going to make a copy of that. I'm going to turn this off. I don't want to see it. And I want to make this one editable by hitting C on my keyboard. So now we can pop that as a child of the subdivision surface. We're just keeping this one here just in case we want to go back. We probably won't, but now it's editable. We can start modifying this. So I'm just going to turn off my grid for now. And I want to add a little foot here, kind of a little cup foot, something that supports the cup. So to do that, I just want to turn off this subdivision surface for now, and I'm going to go to polygon mode, and I'm going to hit UL on my keyboard so that we can select loops. And I'm going to grab, which one am I going to grab? Maybe I'll grab a few. I'll hit 9 on my keyboard. Not 9, UL, sorry again. Ignore what I just did there. I'm going to grab this one, and this one, and this one. And I'm going to I'm going to hit D on my keyboard to go to open the extrude tool, and I'm going to extrude that out to about here. So now our cup has some nice support for itself. So that's what it's going to use to stand. It has some feet. kind of looking like Chip from Beauty and the Beast. But anyway, moving on. We also want to round this sharp edge because that wouldn't be very realistic looking. So go to Edges mode and UL on your keyboard for loop selection, and just select this one. Hit MS on your keyboard for bevel, sorry, and then just click and drag, and then we can, if we turn back on our subdivision surface, that'll give us a nice curved edge there, much more realistic looking. Okay, so our cup's looking pretty nice so far. Now next we're going to move on to the handle of this. So turn off your subdivision surface object and let's go into our right view, and we are going to select a starting point for our handle. So select your lathe, hit 9 on your keyboard to go to your direct selection tool, and we only want to select visible elements. Make sure that's turned on. Make sure we're in polygon mode, and now we can select a starting point for our handle. So I'm going to go for these two here, and I'm going to start extruding. I'm actually going to grab these 6 polygons, and I'm going to start. Actually, I'm going to deselect those two. I'm going to select those there. This is going to be my starting point for my handle. So D in your keyboard for the extrude tool, and just click and drag in the right direction. You don't want to go that way. You want to go this way. And drag that out to about there. Now it's looking pretty ugly, but remember we can turn this subdivision surface on and it's going to smooth everything out. Okay, so I want to make this a little bit smaller, so click on scale and just click and drag, so that's going to be a little bit smaller there. And also I want our cup to handle to have a kind of a, you know, a curve, like let's see if I can find an example of one anywhere. I probably won't be able to. Yeah, kind of like this. So it's going to kind of curve up and then go down, like the curve kind of starts here, if I'm making any sense at all. So that's the kind of handle look, the start of it. That's the look I'm going for. So I want to do an extrude. Just turn off my subdivision surface, select these two faces here and hit D for extrude, and just drag that out and bring it away from the body of the cup, and R on your keyboard to rotate, and just rotate that so it's pointing in that direction. So let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for. I'm going to do another extrude. D on your keyboard, bring that out a bit more, and I'm going to leave it like that. Cool. Okay, so let's continue on with our extrude. We're going to go this way, and we're going to select those two polygons, D again on your keyboard, and then extrude that out. Bring it away from the body and rotate it like so. And we're going to repeat this process so that we get a nice curved handle. Now you guys can do this with subdivision surface turned on, or you can do it with subdivision surface turned off. Anyway, whatever way you're going to do it, it's just what we're trying to do is get a nice handle, basically. Now that's a bit thick there, so I want to make that a bit thinner. So it starts off thick, gets thinner. I want to do the same down here. Starts off very thick and it thins out. Oh, wrong one. This one here thins out. I'll actually UL to select all of those, and I'm going to do a shrink all of that there. So as I was saying, you guys can do this with subdivision surface turned on or with it off, whatever you prefer. Just what we're trying to do is get a nice smooth handle for our cup. And I'm going to go ahead and do this really quickly. I've already went through the steps. You're going to be using your extrude tool, and you're going to be using your move tool and your rotate tool. And that's pretty much what you're going to be doing. It's going to be a repetitive process, but you'll get there eventually. And once you're there, we'll continue on. Okay, so once you start getting closer to the cup, you're going to want to start taking into consideration the fact that you're going to have to connect your handle to the bottom part of your cup here. So I'm just going to show you how to do that once I get nice and close to my cup. Okay, so that's close enough. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, that's a fine looking cup handle. So I'm going to leave it like that, and I want to then now connect my handle here to the bottom part of my cup. So I need to delete some polygons from both my handle and the body of my cup. So I'm going to delete this one and this one. Hit delete when they're both selected. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points that we need to connect up. So we're going to need 6 points on this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I need to delete off 6 faces. I'm going to delete off these polygons here. And I'm going to right click, go to stitch and sew, make sure my point mode is selected, and I'm going to start connecting the points here. This one connects to there, this one to here, this one goes to here, this one to here. Get that middle bottom one there up to there, and this one goes to here. Now this might look a bit funky, but we can fix it. Let's just see what it looks like. Do you know what? It doesn't look that bad, to be fair. I might just make it a bit thinner by going UL, going to polygon mode and selecting this here, and maybe, yeah, I'll just make this a bit thinner here. And that is looking pretty neat. Maybe I'll make that a little less thin. Yeah, go for about there. Okay, so that's a funky looking cup handle, to be fair. It's like an antique, but it's enough for what we want to do, because we're going to have the camera pointing at this kind of an angle. Let's do a quick render to see what that looks like. So it's going to look pretty cool. You're going to be the viewer is going to be focused more in on what's going on the inside, because from the video at the start, you've seen we're going to have some tea in here, and there's going to be a spoon stirring the tea, and it's going to look like real liquid. So we're almost done with this, guys. We just want to add a material to this, and it's gonna be white, not too white, and it's gonna have some Beckman added to the reflectance channel. I'm gonna bring that brightness right down to about here, and let's put in a floor, and we can make this floor very white and put that on there, and make sure that our floor isn't intersecting the base of our cup. Make sure object model mode is selected, and let's bring that down to the very base there. And let's get some lights in our scene. So just select a light, bring it up to about there. I'm going to bring it kind of in front of our cup here. And I'm going to add a shadow to that, an area shadow. I'm going to duplicate that by holding down Control and dragging this over to about there. I'm eyeballing this now. NA in your keyboard to turn off lines. And okay, that's looking pretty good. I want to turn this off here. And let's see what this is looking like when we do a quick render preview. Okay, so it looks like a cup. We could mess around with this handle a bit more to smoothen it out, but for time's sake, I'm gonna end the tutorial, the part one of this tutorial here, and in the next part we're gonna be creating some nice liquid tea inside our cup. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.